Hello, it's Ryan Bembridge here from Mortgage Introducer, and I'm here with Hattie Tales from Pure Retirement. How are you doing?
Hi, yeah, really good, thank you. Yeah, doing really well.
As the equity release sector continues to grow, it has done pretty well in the last couple of years, are there enough materials and resources available for new advisors coming into the market?
As the market's grown, I mean, the amount of support that advisors get has grown massively, and I think if you sort of look these days, most calendar months there's probably a later life event of some sort that advisors can actually see to attend to get a bit more education and sort of help them sort of expand their knowledge a bit more. Resources wise, again, yes, there's lots of webinars that are being shot. I think where the information is coming from, that's growing massively. So all of the lenders seem to be quite on board with it. You've got roadshows, seminars, as I said, webinars, things like that all of the lenders seem to be on board with, and they're doing quite a lot of that. Even people like solicitors, they're holding events to further the education, so sort of like on the other end of the process. So with the lenders, it's quite front end of the process. Solicitors are helping clients with the back end of the process, how to make it go through quickly, that sort of thing. So there is a lot of that available. I think where we're perhaps missing something is the exam doesn't quite set people up to go straight out into the industry and be able to just go and sit in front of a client and give advice straight away. So I think where we need to perhaps put a little bit more effort in maybe is once the advisors have passed the exam, is giving them that help straight away so that they can go straight into the marketplace and feel comfortable going out and advising. When I speak to advisors that have kind of just passed their exam, that seems to be where they struggle.
Okay, at the moment I guess it's up to individual firms, is it? But you think maybe there should be something, more of an initiative?
Yeah, I know a lot of the bigger firms actually offer like a buddying process as well, so you can go out with an advisor who's experienced and buddy up with them and sort of follow their process. Some people might not like this might not like this style. Other people will take them up on that. So I don't think it's taken up massively. But I think it's a case of that perhaps people go into the industry and think, do you know what? I'll get my equity release exam and I'll be able to go out the day after the exam and start giving advice, which
that's not the reality.
I don't think it is at all. I don't think the exam sets you up well enough for it. So I think that's probably the area that perhaps people will need a little bit more help.
Okay, interesting. Secondly, how can the equity release sector work more closely with other sectors, for example, estate agents on opportunities in this market?
Yeah, do you know, this is something that I've done a lot of work on actually, and I actually published an article last month about this. It's a huge area where we're missing quite a lot of opportunity. So over 55s going into an estate agent and saying, look, we've got mobility issues, we need to look at bungalows, perhaps something like that. Can you help us? They might look at the properties that are available and they say, well, looking at what you can afford, you can only afford this and this. The bungalows are over here, and they just simply turn them away. It's a huge lack of education. If these estate agents understood how an equity release can work, they can actually say to the clients, you can afford this property, and if you were to take an equity release mortgage, you could have this one, and hopefully it'd be the property that they're actually in there to look for to begin with.
Maybe it's just time, take time for this to bed in. It's growing very quickly, very fast. Yeah, that's massively it. And I think estate agents probably saw equity release as perhaps a negative towards them as well, because it meant that people were staying in their homes rather than selling their properties. So perhaps they thought if we promote equity release, less people are going to be putting their properties on the marketplace and less people are actually going to be moving. But we need to keep the education going, and we need to make sure that they actually understand that it doesn't mean that we're trying to take opportunities away from them. We're trying to help their clients, and when you actually sort of break it down as well, if they're selling more expensive properties to the over 55s, they're getting more commission off it as well, so it's win-win-win all round really. So yeah, I mean it's a huge gap. What I think needs to happen really is I think advisors need to be going out and actually speaking to their local estate agents. I think they need to be going into the offices, saying to them, look, this is the service I offer, this is how it works, this is what your clients can get out of it, and this is what you can get out of it. Equity release is no longer seen in a dark light. You know, the products are amazing, they're innovative, the interest rates are good, no negative equity guarantee. You know, there's so much going for equity release, and it's being seen in a much more positive light. They're more flexible as well.
well, right?
Way more flexible. You've got repayment options. You've got sort of fees packages. You can you can really tailor your products to how your client needs it to be. So it doesn't have to be they don't have to see it in a negative way. They can see it in a really positive light going forwards. And I just think estate agents in particular have been massively missed off the education process, and they haven't been included in this.
Okay, cool. Do you have any new products coming up?
So at Pure, we've, as it stands at the moment, so we've got a whole of market product which is known for its high LTVs, maximum releases. So when people think of Pure Retirement as it stands, they think of the clients that really need to get the very most out of their property. So perhaps interest-only mortgage coming to an end, that sort of thing. But we have got a new whole of market product that is coming very shortly. It's going to be a great all-rounder, basically. It's not going to revolutionise the whole marketplace, but it's going to sit really well. It's not going to have the lowest of the lowest rates, but the lending criteria is going to be really good. It's going to be incredibly flexible. So you can choose to have cash back, you can choose to have a fees package, you can choose whether the client wants to pay a fee towards their mortgage or not. And something that's going to be really fantastic is we're going to have fixed ERCs. That's something that we've seen across the marketplace that advisors are crying out for. Clients do understand guilt-based ERC.
I mean, that's one of the reasons that people say don't take out an equity release mortgage, right? It's for those. So yeah, that's solving that problem.
Yeah, and it's how can we expect clients to understand guilt and things like that? It's too much for them to take on, especially if they're looking to do an equity release. There's an awful lot of things going on at the same time. In a lot of cases, it can scare them off. So having fixed ERCs is going to be a huge benefit to our marketplace. But yeah, I mean, the product's going to be a fantastic all-rounder. It's going to have really good lending criteria. We're going to have flexible payment options that's going to be introduced to it as well. So it's going to be really flexible. I think that's sort of what to take away from it. It's going to be really flexible, and it's going to fill a lot of gaps in the marketplace.
Cool. All right. Thanks very much. Yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah, and you. Thank you.